I had one hand on the bathroom door handle, ready to step in and end the longest day I'd had in months, when suddenly it didn't move. Not stuck. Not locked. Held. And before I could even turn my head properly, a voice came in low and urgent from the side of the hallway. "We need to talk before you go there." Maya Bennett was standing there with her palm pressed firmly against the door, not angry, not joking, just serious in a way that made the air feel different. For a moment, I honestly forgot what I was even doing. My name is Ethan Clark, and I was renting a small flat with my roommate Oliver Bennett in a quiet part of Bristol. Life there was supposed to be simple: work, sleep, repeat. That's what I told myself when I moved in. Keep things light. Keep people at a distance. Don't get involved too deeply with anyone's problems. But life has a way of ignoring the rules you quietly set for yourself. And Maya Bennett, my roommate's older sister, was not someone who followed rules either. She was standing in front of me now, blocking a bathroom door like it was the most important thing in the world, her eyes steady, her voice calm but firm. "Ethan," she said again, softer this time, "just listen for a minute." I remember blinking like my brain was trying to catch up. I had no idea what was going on. I wasn't in danger. Nothing dramatic had happened. It was just a hallway, a bathroom, and a woman who looked like she'd decided something important about my life without asking permission. "I was just going to shower," I said awkwardly, still holding the towel in my hand. "I know," she replied immediately. "But you shouldn't go in there right now. Not until we talk." There was something strange in her tone. Not controlling. Not dramatic. More like concern that had been carried for a long time and finally reached a point where it couldn't stay quiet anymore. I slowly lowered my hand from the door. Oliver's voice came from the kitchen a moment later. "Everything all right out there?" Maya didn't look away from me. "Yeah," she called back. "We're fine. Just need a minute." That "we" stuck in my head more than anything else. Because I didn't feel like I was part of any "we." Not yet. I leaned back against the wall opposite the bathroom, unsure whether I should laugh, ask questions, or just walk away and pretend this wasn't happening. Maya stayed where she was, like she was making sure I wouldn't disappear before she finished whatever she came to say. Finally, I broke the silence. "This feels a bit intense for a bathroom conversation," I said, trying to keep my tone light. A faint smile flickered across her face, but it didn't fully land. "It's not about the bathroom," she said. "It's about you." That stopped me. People don't usually say things like that unless they're about to say something you've been avoiding for a long time without realizing it. I sighed, rubbing the back of my neck. "All right. You've got my attention. What's going on?" She took a breath, as if choosing her words carefully. "Oliver told me you've been disappearing into your room a lot. Not eating properly. Not sleeping properly either, apparently." I frowned slightly. "He exaggerates." "I don't think he does," she replied gently. That landed a bit closer to home than I wanted it to. There was a pause. Somewhere in the flat, a kettle clicked off. Life continuing normally while something else quietly shifted in the hallway. Maya stepped back from the bathroom door but didn't leave. "I'm not here to criticize you," she said. "I'm here because I've seen this before. In people who think they're fine until they're not." I gave a small, uncomfortable laugh. "I'm not falling apart, if that's what you're thinking." "I didn't say you were," she said immediately. "But I think you're carrying more than you're saying out loud." That sentence made something in my chest tighten. Because the truth was, I had been carrying things. Just not the kind that are easy to explain. Work had been draining. I'd recently lost a promotion I thought I had secured. My confidence had quietly slipped away in pieces I didn't notice at first. And somewhere between long nights and silent mornings, I'd started pretending I was okay so well that even I almost believed it. Almost. But hearing it from someone else's mouth made it harder to ignore. Still, I wasn't used to people stepping into my life like this. I appreciate the concern, I said carefully, but I've got it under control. Maya nodded slowly, like she expected that answer. People usually say that when they've been holding things together for too long, she replied. I looked at her properly then. She didn't look like she was trying to fix me. She looked like someone who genuinely cared whether I walked out of this hallway still pretending, or finally admitted something to myself. Oliver appeared at the end of the corridor, leaning against the kitchen doorway. She's not trying to interfere, he said quietly. She just worries. About everyone, really. I've noticed, I muttered. Maya shot him a brief look, half annoyed, half grateful. Then she turned back to me. I'll make this simple, she said. You don't have to talk to me if you don't want to. But you also don't have to keep pretending you're fine just because it's easier. That sentence hung in the air longer than anything else had. I looked at the bathroom door again. It suddenly felt less important than it had 5 minutes ago. What exactly are we talking about here? I asked finally. Maya hesitated. About you not being alone in it, she said. That's all. There was no dramatic confession. No sudden emotional collapse. Just a quiet moment in a hallway where someone had decided that ignoring a problem wasn't the same as it not existing. And I didn't know why, but something about that made my shoulders drop slightly. I pushed off the wall. Look, I said, more honest than I intended, I'm just tired. That's all it is. Work's been rough. Life's been a bit flat lately. Maya nodded, like she was finally hearing the real version of me instead of the rehearsed one. That makes sense, she said simply. That was it. No judgment. No lecture. Just acknowledgement. It caught me off guard more than anything else. I exhaled slowly. So why block the bathroom door? A faint, slightly embarrassed smile crossed her face. Because I knew you'd try to avoid the conversation otherwise, she admitted. I blinked. You thought I'd run away from my own shower? I thought you'd run away from sitting still long enough to be honest with yourself, she corrected gently. I didn't have a good response to that. Oliver gave a quiet laugh from the kitchen. She's annoyingly accurate sometimes. Thanks, Ollie, Maya replied without looking away from me. The tension in the hallway started to shift, not disappearing, but softening. I leaned my head back against the wall again, but this time it wasn't defensive. It was tired. All right, I said quietly. So what now? Maya seemed to relax slightly, like she'd been waiting for that question. Now, she said, you go wherever you were going before, but you don't go through it alone in your head. And tomorrow, or whenever you're ready, you talk to someone properly. Not just me. A friend. A doctor. Someone who can actually support you. I looked at her. And you think that helps? I think ignoring things makes them heavier, she said. Talking about them makes them shareable. That's all. There was something steady in her voice that made it hard to dismiss her completely. I glanced at Oliver. He gave me a small nod, like he wasn't forcing anything, just backing her up. I let out a breath I didn't realize I'd been holding. You both make it sound so simple, I said. It isn't simple, Maya replied. It's just worth it. That line stayed with me longer than I expected. We stood there for a moment without speaking. The kind of silence that doesn't feel empty, just full of unfinished thoughts. Then Maya stepped fully away from the bathroom door. You can go in now, she said softly. I hesitated. Not because I wanted to shower anymore, but because something about the moment had changed. Like I wasn't the same person who had tried to open that door a few minutes ago. Still, I gave a small nod. All right, I said. And this time, when I reached for the handle, nothing stopped me. But before I went in, I paused. Hey, I said quietly. Maya looked up. Thanks, I added, not entirely sure what I was thanking her for. She nodded once. You're welcome. But this isn't the end of it, you know. A faint, almost reluctant smile appeared on my face. I'm starting to realize that, I said. And for the first time in a long while, I didn't feel like I was walking into the next moment alone. Later that evening, after the flat had gone quieter and Oliver had retreated to his room, I sat on my bed staring at nothing in particular. I kept thinking about the hallway. About the door I thought I needed. About the way Maya didn't shout or demand or force anything. She just stopped me long enough to make me notice myself again. And that was the part one couldn't shake. Because she hadn't fixed my life in 5 minutes. She hadn't solved anything at all. But she had done something harder. She had made me feel seen in a moment I was trying very hard not to be. The next morning, I did something I hadn't done in a long time. I texted an old friend. Just a simple message. Nothing dramatic. Hey. Been a bit off lately. Fancy a coffee sometime? It took me 5 minutes to send it. And somehow, that felt like a beginning. When I told Maya later, she didn't celebrate like it was a victory. She just nodded, like this was exactly what she'd hoped for. Good, she said simply. I leaned against the kitchen counter, watching her make tea like nothing in the world was out of place. You know, I said, you could have just knocked. She smiled slightly. Where's the impact in that? I shook my head, half amused despite myself. You're impossible. Helpful, she corrected. I let out a quiet laugh. All right. Helpful. And in that small, ordinary kitchen, with a kettle boiling and sunlight falling through the window, I realized something I hadn't expected to feel again so easily. Not everything life-changing arrives loudly. Sometimes it blocks a bathroom door. Sometimes it refuses to let you walk past your own silence. And sometimes, it simply whispers that you don't have to carry everything alone. That day didn't fix everything. But it changed the direction of things. And for the first time in a long time, that was enough.